कुमार साहब नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, more development for squatter settlements. Fiji punching above its weight despite coronavirus. And Blind Society commended.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
With over 200 informal settlements in Fiji, it's impossible to develop several sites within 1 year, says Housing Minister Pramila Kumar. While wrapping up her Lambasa tour, Kumar says several factors have to be considered before developing settlements. Pranita Prakash reports.
There are 250 informal settlements around the country.
When you develop an informal settlement, it can cost you around $2 to $10 million, depending upon how big the settlement is. Because you have to put the road, the drainage, the sewer, the street lights, the footpath, the surveys that comes in, the civil work that is required. So it's a very costly affair.
It was earlier revealed that even with sites where work has begun, residents have sometimes delayed work by interfering with contractors and objecting to plans. Kumar says processes need to be followed before a settlement is developed.
The scheme plan will be drawn up. We have to get the surveys in, the topography survey has to be done to understand the place better. And then, of course, then the EIA will be required and the engineering plans are done. And finally, the development work will continue.
The minister also revealed that the government is on the verge of acquiring a development lease for Kening, Gelewanga and the Tua Tua area in Lambasa. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Fiji, as a small, developing, independent sovereign state, continues to punch above its weight despite COVID-19. Speaking at the Fiji 50 medal ceremony for the Corrections Service, President Yochi Kondrote said we should not dampen our Fijian can-do spirit during this crisis. Kelly Vadhala reports.
COVID-19 has had a profound effect on our national plans.
This week, sadly, we have another confirmed case, but we can still rejoice and celebrate certain events in life, like our 50th anniversary independence celebrations. By remaining positive and firm in our faith in the Almighty, that our beloved Fiji is blessed as a nation and people.
President Kondrote says Fiji is still leading the world community by passionately addressing global issues such as climate change and the preservation and protection of our oceans. Presenting these corrections officers their commemorative medal, the head of state said no individual or community should be left behind.
Inevitably, the present COVID-19 pandemic has had a profound effect on our national plan for commemorating style. But this is not going to dampen our spirit. Our Fiji can spirit not deviate our focus and attention.
The president says Fiji has had its fair share of challenges since independence, and the disciplined forces must maintain the trust and confidence of the people at all times. Kelly Vadhala, FBC News.
The Fiji Society for the Blind, in partnership with Taviuni Rotary and Hawaii Eye Surgeons, have carried out 2,500 surgeries. Officiating at the Golden Jubilee celebrations, Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama commended the institution for raising awareness on the importance of visual health. Kelly Vadhala reports.
The Society is the only organization providing rehabilitation, education, training and assistance to the visually impaired in Fiji.
I'm talking about your early intervention program to identify visual impairment in children aged up to the age of 3. I'm talking about your programs in the community for eye screening and eye care awareness.
It also accommodates regional students, but Marama says it's the responsibility of the government to use its resources to ensure citizens who are disabled or impaired are assisted so they have an equal footing with everyone else.
Fiji is a place where the blind are valued for the contributions they can make, like any other citizen, not pitied for the things they are unable to do. We have learned much in my lifetime about the abilities of people who were once discounted.
Today, 27 students who have attended the Fiji School for the Blind and other society programs are pursuing tertiary education.
Blind and partially sighted people are mentally stronger and more resilient than others. Given half a chance of employment, they would be an asset to any government department, any organization.
About 20 of the students who have gone through the high school system and also the university system are now very independent. They have got good career, they are married and they have a job.
The education grants, hostel grants, disability allowance, bus fare allowance and the free TEL scholarships are some of the assistance offered by government to students with disabilities. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The United Nations has stood with Fiji since 1945. Speaking at the 75th UN anniversary commemoration, President Major General retired Chiochi Kondote says the UN played a key role in the development of Fiji, especially in health, education, security and communications, to name a few. Sainiani Boiler reports.
The multilateral system of the UN in the last 75 years has empowered Fijians in all ways of life.
Now, from the vaccinations we received in our primary school days, to support for the strengthening of our democratic institutions, to enhancing food security, the program that expand incomes and livelihoods for our women, to helping us develop our data capabilities to improve government policy making machinery. The United Nations has stood with Fiji and the whole of our region each time we faced a major disaster.
Major General retired Kondote says the celebration was in line with the Fiji 50 commemoration and also the challenge faced worldwide due to the pandemic.
The United Nations has stood with Fiji and the whole of our region each time we faced a major disaster. Each time we faced down a health crisis, and each time we faced a new challenge to our development. And Fijians have given back a great deal to this institution. For more than 40 years, our peacekeepers, as you've heard, have defended the defenseless in some of the world's most conflict-ridden and volatile regions.
UN Resident Coordinator Sanaka Samarasina has reaffirmed the United Nations commitment to helping develop Fiji.
I would like to reaffirm the United Nations commitment to the governments and people we serve, that we will continue to spare no effort to work in partnership with all of you in all these areas as we strive together to fulfill the promise of Nations United.
The United Nations over the next 17 days have invited Fijians and Pacific Island countries to develop on the Sustainable Development Goals in a Pacific context. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
Up ahead, church struggles with drug issues. And 15-year-old arrested for curfew breach.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
The increasing use of drugs is a major challenge for Methodist Church pastors who are posted to Kandavu. Church Communications Secretary Reverend Wilfred Rengunamanda says this was highlighted during the week-long training for maritime pastors recently. Reverend Rengunamanda says they're working on ways to address the situation, which would include more church visits to the island.
An intensive training for the maritime divisions. It focuses on enhancing ministers' work, their approaches, methodology, and also it was a great time to hear them present challenges that they face. Challenges, for an example, the Kandavu division stated the challenges of drugs, which is a rising and continuing to be the current challenge that they have.
A 15-year-old boy was arrested last night after he was found drunk and loitering at the Nausori bus stand with 2 other men. 27 arrests were made for breach of curfew between 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. with 12 in the Central Division, 10 in the Southern, 3 in the East and 1 each in the West and North. The 12 arrests recorded in the Central Division involved 11 men and a woman who were all drunk and moving around the city area. The 10 arrests recorded in the Southern Division were made in Asinu, Raiwanga, Valilevu and Navua. 9 of the 10 reports involved men who were drunk. The 3 arrests made in the Eastern Division involved 2 men and a 15-year-old who were drunk and loitering in Nausori. The 1 arrest made in the Western Division involved a 40-year-old labourer who was drunk and walking along the Nandi Hospital Road. The filthy state of some supermarkets around the country is raising eyebrows. Consumer Council of Fiji is now working on forming a task force to look into the condition of some supermarkets in the country. Chief Executive Seema Shandil says serious concerns have been raised on the issue by some members of the public.
Stenchy smell of the meat area, and also the fruits and vegetables, which is kind of rotting, and the state of the supermarket itself is deteriorating. So there is a need to maybe moving forward to see how improvements can be brought about, because as I said, the deteriorating state of some of the supermarkets, they are not maintaining cleanliness, which is a need, and as per the law they have to maintain that.
The task force is expected to include municipal councils and the Ministry of Health. Attorney General Ayasad Qayyum says Fijians should reflect on how they're leading their lives. He made the comments while officiating the Navratri Puja ceremony at Kabutri Drive, Koronivia Nausori, last night. Navratri is a Hindu festival that spans 9 nights in 10 days. Celebrations include worshipping 9 goddesses in 9 days, stage decorations, recital of the legend, enacting of the story, and chanting of the scriptures. Syed Qayyum says while Navratri is a celebration of Goddess Durga, it also provides opportunity for people to look at their inner self and how they're running their lives.
The 9 nights, it's obviously, firstly, 2 things for me that strikes out. It's obviously is a celebration of the Goddess Durga, which symbolizes, our mothers, our wives, our daughters, our sisters. They're very much part and parcel of our lives, and we must value them.
And in world news, U.S. President Donald Trump and his opponent Joe Biden had their final election debate, with organizers having to introduce a mute button. The debate this time around was described as more civilized. Ahead in sports, Nandi wins fair brother. And the Via bats with the big guns. This and more coming up.
Pula nadang go aprosa ng karse, go erkraki, do televizyon na barong na Radio Fiji 1, nandong ibit.
Radio Fiji 1, nandong ibit.
Nandi are the new holders of the coveted Fairbrother Sullivan Trophy, beating Namosi 22-21 at the NZ Stadium in Suva this afternoon. The win means Tailevu will be the last challenger next weekend. Aquila Dama reports.
They came with a mission, and the Jet Setters achieved it in a special way with his winning try to the pocket rocket, Vilikas Andrew.
Oh, it comes on Vilikas Andrew! Andrew goes in the corner!
Nandi captain Vermalu of Wungakoto says they knew it was now or never.
The message was just simple for the boys coming into the weekend. The boys know what's ahead.
The message seemed to have hit the team as they played like men possessed.
Intercepted. Mira, the 21-year-old. He can go. He's in.
Namosi replied before halftime with Asiri Rombo-Rombolevu for a 7-all scoreline, but the Jet Setters started the second spell on the right foot.
And the try is there.
However, Namosi scored 2 successive tries in 2 minutes.
And Namosi trying to run away, put the kick over the top, the chase is on. Kalaveti Ravovo looking for the nudge ahead. Ravovo with a brilliant pick.
With 4 minutes left to play, Ndriu ran through for the winning try, and their captain says self-belief made the difference.
And I think the boys, they just have faith in themselves. Even though we were down 14 men in the second half, the boys just keep fighting and keep fighting on until the last minute. And I think that's what cost us the win today.
Nandi will host Tailevu next weekend. Aquila Vama, FBC Sports.
Lautoka will not be featuring in the Skipper Cup next season. This is after Tailevu defeated Naita Asiri 24-19 at the Nakelo District School ground today. It means even if Lautoka secures a bonus point win over Nandronga next weekend, it's not going to be enough. However, the Maroons say they'll fight until the end despite their 5-7 loss to Ramsamy Suva last night. Aquila Dama again with this report.
A draw or win would have put Lautoka in a much better position heading into the last round next weekend. But they have not lost hope.
I spoke to them in the change room. I said it's now or never. So the efforts on the ground, I think, spoke much of what the boys really wanted to do, come up with a win. You know the difference. They wanted to score a win against Suva.
The Sugar City side now has 20 points in the competition standings, but they will still give their all against Nandronga in the final round.
These two final rounds is a do or die. But unfortunately, we couldn't score a win today. But we'll go and regroup, look at the mistakes, the missed opportunities, some decisions, and prepare well for Nandronga.
Suva manager Nemani Tuifangalele says they expected Lautoka to come out firing.
We were expecting this kind of game with Lautoka. We know that Lautoka is coming in with on survival mode, so they wanted to surprise us today with their kind of games. Yes, but we thank the boys for holding on until the final whistle.
The capital city side will play Namosi next weekend in the last round of the Skipper Cup. Aquila Vama, FBC Sports.
The Fijian players in the Barbarian squad will not have a chance to face England tomorrow. 24 hours from the NRL Grand Final, and Suliasi Vunivalu's family are pleased with the Flying Storm winger's achievement. One of his uncles has always believed that Vunivalu was destined for bigger things.
Here at Bangasau Housing, we only cheer for the Melbourne Storm.
One of the Storm winger's biggest fans is his dad's elder brother, who has one simple message for Vunivalu.
Remember, boy, win or lose, your family here in Bangasau will always be behind you, and you will always be our son. Good luck, boy.
New bowlers are making their mark in the 14th Rajchara National Open Singles held at the Super Bowling Club today. The new bowlers, with the likes Chantel Frazier, Edeli Rosa and Krishan Singh, joining the championship for the first time. Super Bowling Director Games Martin Fong says the competition has really stepped up this year. A total of 30 men and 15 women are part of the two-day event, which ends tomorrow. Fong says there has been a lot of upsets during day one of the competition.
This year have been practicing really hard for this single, so I believe there's going to be a challenge for the two defending champs, and who knows, maybe a new champion by the end of the night.
The Via cricket team coach and manager Paula Turanga is proud of how far his team has come in the Cricket Fiji Association Challenge. Turanga, who has been guiding the team over the last 2 years, says it has been hard getting the financial support needed to bring the team over to Suva for competition. The side managed to secure one win over Canberra during the pool stages, but lost to Suva and Cornwall. Turanga adds it is not the end of the road for the Via team.
Despite our challenges, I am proud of how the team has come, playing against some of the big teams like Suva and Mode. We came here with an aim to get exposure for our team, and we have learned a lot from this tournament.
In weather, cloudy periods with isolated showers were experienced over the eastern Vanuatu and eastern parts and interior Viti Levu. Elsewhere, cloudy periods with showers developing in the afternoon. A quick look at the weather map. In the west, cloudy conditions and slight showers prevailed for most of the day. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, similar conditions lasted for most of the day. And up north, no major change as with the rest of the country. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, rough seas, moderate southerly southerly swells, poor visibility in areas of heavy showers and thunderstorms. And turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 1:22 tomorrow morning, with low tide at 7:55 a.m. Sunrise is at 5:31. Now, for tomorrow, expect cloudy periods with some showers and isolated thunderstorms over the eastern half of Vanuatu, Taveuni and nearby smaller islands. Isolated heavy falls with thunderstorms are likely. Brief showers over eastern and interior of Vitilevu. Our further outlook, we're expecting cloudy periods with brief showers over the eastern and interior of the larger islands. Elsewhere, fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers. Now, recapping the main stories for tonight, more development for squatters' settlements. Fiji punching above its weight despite coronavirus. And Blind Society commended for its work. Now, for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question, we're asking, should curfew remain for the rest of the year? Visit our FBC website to answer. And be sure to send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe. Bye for now.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.